coming tonight to listen to our presentation. The work streams you enough as it is. My name is Chloe, and I am a co-founder of For Health's Sake, which is a multidisciplinary health clinic just literally down the street at Queen and Spadina. I'm also a registered massage therapist.
And I'm Dr. Carmel. I'm a chiropractor, and I also provide medical acupuncture at the same clinic. I work with Chloe.
Yeah, so tonight we try to jam-pack as much as we can, as much useful information as we can. So hopefully at least one piece will be useful. You guys can use this after to help with any pain or injuries you might be having.
So if you're wondering why we actually chose this topic to cover, I have a little story for you. So I was doing a continued education course that was about 2 weeks or 2 weekends intensive lecture-based course. By the end of the second weekend, I woke up on Sunday and my neck was super, super sore. I had trouble checking my blind spot when I was driving. My hip flexors felt like they were really tight where it was difficult for me to walk up the stairs. And that was only because of the 2 weekend course that I did spending sitting down. And it got me thinking about all the patients that I have that spend 9 to 5 sitting at their desk, doing all the work at their computers, feeling all this tension. So I just want to do as much as I can to just educate you in different ways that you can make small changes that have a huge effect on how you're going to feel at the end of the day. So hopefully this does help you.
Yeah, so for tonight's agenda, Carmel's going to start with talking about the MSK system and MSK health from her chiropractic background. And then she's going to get into Posture Perfect, so she's going to provide you guys with ergonomic tips that will help you. You can apply it to your workstations. And then I'm going to end the presentation with 3 key strengthening exercises to help with pain and discomfort.
Okay, so let's take a minute and talk about the MSK system, what it actually is and why it should matter so much. So as it says here, the MSK system is a complex network of muscles, bones, joints, tendons, and ligaments that offers us the ability to perform our daily activities. The main thing that it provides structure, protection, and the main thing is function. So it allows us to actually do the things we do every day. So what is an MSK condition? An MSK condition includes a wide range of disorders that impacts that whole network that I just covered. It could result from an actual physical trauma that you have or an overuse injury. So things you're doing day to day over and over again, that has an added effect to your whole body. And if not managed properly, the MSK injuries can become chronic and result in bigger issues. So let's get to why good MSK health matters. So low back pain is actually the leading cause of disability worldwide, and it can become more of an issue as we age, and I'm sure you probably know a little bit about that. But over the years, you can develop habitual ways of using your bodies and movement patterns that can affect your whole body. So poor posture and lack of flexibility can be the result of limited stretching and improper body alignment. So as you're sitting, you lose track of how your body feels. You may slump into your chair, and that in total has an effect on your body. With age, your muscles naturally lose the elasticity, and your discs lose the water in them. You have a bunch of other things that are inevitable as you age. The good news is we can do something about it, and we can prevent it now using these little tips that I'm going to give you today. So by incorporating exercise and stretching into your daily routine, as well as working to change some of the habits that you have day to day or those patterns that you got caught into, you can help improve your MSK health. So just a show of hands here, how many of you actually have some pains or aches during your day? So I'm very careful to use the word pain because a lot of my patients come in and tell me, well, it's not really pain, it's more of a discomfort that I'm feeling, or it's not that big of a deal, I've been living with it, it's just there, I feel it. And that is the number one thing that you should look out for, because that's basically your body giving you warning signs or putting up a red flag like, hey, do something about this. This is the time to make changes. This is, where you need to make it stop. So it's not just pain, it's things like headaches. Headaches shouldn't be a normal part of your daily life. So if you're having headaches like 1 or 2 times a week, or having trouble, like I said, checking your blind spot when you're driving, or you feel that pressure in your low back because you've been sitting for so long, those are all things that technically are that pain that I'm talking about. It's your MSK system kind of yelling at you, telling you, hey, wake up, do something now. So certain diseases and conditions can cause MSK pain, but so can our common habits. Things like poor posture, incorrect movements, repetitive motions, sedentary lifestyle, and lack of flexibility or just general motion. So it might seem like developing aches and pains and mobility issues is an inevitable part of life, and that happens as you age. But there are some things that you can do to maintain good posture and good MSK health. So some things like maintaining proper posture or stretching to maintain that mobility and make sure you do incorporate some flexibility training to make sure your body's moving properly. And you do want to build strength slowly and safely because that, at the end of the day, is going to support your joints and your low back especially. So now let's review why good posture matters and what it actually looks like. So good posture does deliver increased energy. It provides better breathing for you, improves your circulation, and also less wear and tear on your joints themselves. So the secret to good posture is maintaining the spine's natural curves. So you have 4 natural curves in your spine, and while you're sitting, you do want to make sure that those are well maintained. So things like your anterior head carriage, if you find that your neck is kind of going forward, trying to check out your screen, that is hyper lordotic, and you want to make sure that you're in proper alignment. If your spine's not properly aligned with muscles and ligaments, you do have to work harder to maintain these curves, and that is what causes your body strains and pains. So that's important to note. Poor posture can also affect your breathing and digestion as well as your blood flow. So when you slouch, you're actually putting pressure on your lungs, which is affecting your breathing, and your stomach, which also affects your digestion. So all these things do affect your overall well-being. It's not just muscle and joints that you want to be aware of. It's also important to note that your natural posture can change as you age, like you probably already know. With this in mind, we'll now review some ways to check for good posture and some tips to maintain good posture while you're at work. So looking at this diagram here, what's important to note is your ears, your shoulders, and your hips want to be in proper alignment. So you're going to pretend like you're drawing a line down from your ears. It's going to cross your shoulders all the way down to your hips. So just take a minute and do a mental assessment of how you feel right now. Check your posture. How are your shoulders? Right, everyone's kind of straightening up in their chairs. But think about how that feels then after a couple of hours where you're really concentrated on the task that you're doing. You forget to kind of scan your whole body and then imagine what that has, or how big of an impact that has on your well-being at the end of the day. No wonder you go home kind of complaining of that, oh man, I've been sitting for so long, like my body does hurt. So while you're sitting, you also want to maintain that your ribs are not flared out. So now we're getting into our top tips for maintaining good postural habits throughout the day. So I want you to remember to check your posture regularly. A tip that I tell my patients is if you're working on your computer a lot where you do have a workstation, put a little sticky note at the bottom of your screen that says straighten up. That way every time you kind of glance at it, I'm not talking about like checking a certain note that you wrote somewhere in your notebook, but it's there visible, so every time you scan your eyes beside your screen, it says straighten up, then you do a mental check to check your posture. That's a good reminder, and people do find that helpful. So tip number 1. So ideally, the chair that you're sitting at does have proper lumbar support, but we know that's probably not the case. So having a little towel or a tiny pillow to put where your lumbar spine is can provide you with that additional support, especially for a chair that you're using regularly. That actually helps maintain proper alignment and helps, again, reduce the aches and pain. So tip number 2, I'm looking at all you ladies crossing your legs. Anyone? So both feet should be flat on the floor. That actually provides even pressure along your pelvis and maintaining, again, that proper alignment.
Yeah, like even guys, if you wear a wallet in your back pocket, that's going to shift your entire pelvis and affect your back and everything on the way up. So just think about things that you're doing. And if you're crossing one leg, cross your other leg for the other part of the day and just try to balance it out.
So tip number 3. So many workstations haven't been customized, again to the people actually working at them. So taking the time to make minor adjustments to the workstation that you're at can have a big effect. So you want to make sure that the top line of the document you're working on of writing is at or slightly below eye level. That way you're not looking too high up or too low down.
Yeah, and kind of a fun fact, so in the best position possible, in your usual position, our necks are holding about 10 to 12 pounds. If your head is 15 degrees forward, it's 30 pounds. If your head is 45 degrees forward, that's 50 pounds. And if your head is 60 degrees forward, that's 60 extra pounds that your neck's holding. And 60 sounds extreme, and we're not judging, but I've looked around the room and when people are texting, like our heads are easily going to that position. No wonder we're getting headaches and migraines. Our necks are working so hard just to hold our head up. So if you can at least bring your neck back, you're probably gonna save so much pain and agony that you're dealing with in the day-to-day.
So tip number 3 has to do with the position of your mouse. So poor position of the mouse, that can actually cause you some overstretching or overreaching, and sometimes that actually promotes a forward-leaning posture. So you want to make sure your elbow is close to your body. If you do need to move your mouse around, I recommend using your full shoulder range of motion rather than your wrist to prevent overuse or repetitive strain to the wrist. So make sure you keep your elbows nice and in. And you also you want to make sure that you're not grabbing the mouse nice and tight. Let it rest nicely. Don't need to grab it. It's not going to
Stress can get
The next one we want to talk about is footwear. This is important because we do know that some workplaces have a dress code that's important, especially for you ladies. It's important to have footwear that actually supports your body and provides you with a good stable base, because the base and your feet is actually a foundation for your whole body. Chloe actually has a story.
Yeah, often I get females that come in with their calves going into spasm or they're getting strained in their calf, and then they come in with stilettos. And I get it, you want to look cute, but at least wear a smaller heel if you are going to. Or think about it, if you're in a heel all day, your calf is always in a shortened position. So if you're in a short position and you leave your heel, your calf is just being strained. So at least stretch it out, foam roll, get a massage, just lengthen what's being shortened all day. That's the number 1.
So tip number 6, when talking on the phone, you want to make sure that you're holding the phone up to your ear and not, sandwiching it between your neck. If you are on the phone a lot, you want to make sure that you either have a headset or use a speaker if possible, or follow Brittany, because she's a great example. You want to also alternate. So if you do find that you're using one side over the other, make sure you balance your body out. Everything is about moderation or balance. These things don't need to be a significant change, but just be mindful about how you're using things that you do have to use every day.
So number 7 is about engaging your core while you're sitting. So if you think about it, everything works in opposition. So if you're sitting all day and your stomach is soft, something has to hold you upright. So your back is then going to take over. And that's the number 1 reason that we get low back pain. So learning to engage your core throughout the day is going to save your low back.
So this doesn't mean going to the gym right now and doing a bunch of sit-ups and crunches and killing yourself over that six-pack. I want you to do a simple exercise right now. So just be mindful of pulling in your belly button to the back of your spine. Do you feel that engagement in your core? That engagement actually offers stability for your spine. So that's important to make note of and again, think about during the day while you're sitting, because that does offer a huge benefit to your overall well-being and your low back especially. So number 8 is my favorite and probably more important than the perfect posture. You want to make sure you're moving. The movement is key. It trumps everything. Inactivity is one of the greatest risks we have and the greatest cause of the strain or pain that we have. You want to try to keep moving. So even a 5-minute walk, or if you want to go get a glass of water, make sure you take that walk to the refreshment stand, or go ask your coworker that question and sort of emailing them. That movement is definitely important. And my favorite quotes by myself is, the best posture is your next posture. So people usually tell me how long should I be sitting? Or I have a sit-stand desk. Is it okay for me to stand all day? my answer is your best posture is your next posture. So you want to make sure you're alternating the way your body feels, shifting around, making small changes, because that is going to be the best thing for you. Your body does want to be in motion, so keep it that way.
So for the last portion of the presentation, we're going to provide you guys with 3 key strengthening exercises that you can do. We made it for those who sit for long periods of time. From my experience, strengthening is the most important thing that you can do. And again, we're not talking that you guys gotta be bodybuilders or you have to go to the gym and do heavy weights. We're talking about activating and facilitating muscles that have been turned off during the day. We brought actually TheraBands tonight free for you guys that you can grab after. These are resistance bands. Have you guys ever used these before? Yeah, you're familiar with it? Awesome. Yeah, I love TheraBands because they're lightweight. You can bring them with you anywhere. They're so easy to apply. You can literally do them at your desk. YouTube's amazing. You can have an unlimited amount of exercises you can do for literally any muscle that's bothering you. So tonight we're going to focus on 3 key ones that I like to do for those who sit for long periods of time. Our disclaimer, we obviously haven't personally assessed any of you. We don't know if you have any underlying issues. If you're feeling pain or discomfort, don't do the exercise. If you're not confident about what to do, just book an initial with a chiro physio, figure out what's actually weak on you. Some people, what's weak is actually, what they think is weak is actually overworked. So getting that piece of information and knowing what to do with it and what to actually work on is important before you do some of these. So don't hold us liable. Okay, so the first exercise I'm going to show you guys is core strengthening. So this is going to be for your obliques. Your obliques is the exterior portion of your abdominals. And as mentioned earlier, the reason why you need to engage your core is to save your low back if you're sitting for long periods of time. So just that, yeah, everything works in opposition. So if your core is not working, your low back's taking over. Normally what you would do is you would have this tied to a post or something like that, but Carmel's going to be my post for today. I'm just under flying. I'm going to have to put it right now. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Okay. So, just like, yeah, hold it there. So, I'm engaging my side core right now. So what you do is you put your feet shoulder width apart, your knees are going to be slightly bent. It's going to be tough. So your arms are straight in front of you. I'm going to do a side view. And you're just externally rotating. And the key is to kind of go slowly. You're using this outer portion of your oblique, but while you go, so now I'm using my exterior portion of my oblique, and while I go back in, I'm actually using the opposite side of your internal oblique. So often when we work out, we're doing crunches, that's your rectus abdominis. That's great, but we often forget about the side ones. So to me, this is a great one to engage your side core. Rule of thumb, do 10 reps, 3 sets for all these exercises, and being slow helps engage your core more. So the second exercise we're going to be showing is for your posterior shoulders, your rhomboids. These are the muscles in between shoulder blades. Everything that we do is in front of us, so you're always in a short position. Your pecs are short, your neck's forward. So strengthening or stretching and opening up is obviously great. But if you learn how to activate those muscles, it's going to hold you back in position a lot easier. So this is something you could do at the gym too with a row. It's really basic. So similar to before, you're going to have your legs shoulder width apart, your knees slightly bent. You kind of set your shoulder blades back, and you're going to engage slowly. So the idea is I'm pinching in between my shoulder blades, and that's the muscle I want to activate. And it's again about being slow coming out, and then even while you're going in, you're activating. So this helps turn those guys on.
So another simple one that you can do without the resistance band, if you find that you're sitting at your desk, but you need that release or some kind of break for right in between your shoulder blades, because that is an area of complaint that I see all the time. You want to just pretend like you're holding a pencil in between your shoulder blades, squeeze your shoulder blades together, hold it there for 5 seconds, and release. That also activates the same muscles, and it feels really nice if throughout the day you do feel that pain right there. So that's one.
And then the last one that I want to show you guys is your glute strengthening, aka your butt. Some basic information. We have 3 glute muscles. We have the glute maximus, glute medius, and glute minimus. The maximus is obviously your max, your medius is the side, and then your min is even the smaller side one. What happens when we sit all day, our bodies are about being efficient. So
your body's thinking, I don't need to work as much. So your side glutes stop activating. The problem with that is when you stand up to walk or move, you're using your glute max the most. So that's taking all the hit. And when that takes all the hit, your low back is the next one. And then everything down the line, it's a domino effect, and everything's going to be strained more. So it causes a huge amount of effect throughout your entire body. So learning how to do this is going to save you guys big time. This exercise, there's so many exercises you can do. Again, I find like at the gym that a lot of people do glute max, which is like bridges and like, yeah, not focusing on your side butt. That's too big. So you can play with the resistance of like how much strength you want to put on it. But basically, again, your feet shoulder width apart. That's too loose for me, but and you're going to gauge and you step sideways and you're going to hold it and release.
So while you're doing this, you want to make sure that your knee is in proper line. So make sure the resistance band isn't pulling your knees in or
yeah, so it's the one that's going out, you don't want that to collapse forward, and the one that's staying and stabilizing, you don't want that to collapse forward. That's going to cause knee pain. So you just keep going.
That's where you'll feel the most activation from movement.
Yeah, so that's going to fire your glute, and that's helping with so many issues. And then, yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, we hope that you got at least one piece of information that's going to help you with any pain or discomfort that you're having. Again, we're for health's sake. We're just down the street if you're looking for any providers. We've got chiro, physio, athletic therapy, sports rehab, massage, fascial stretch therapy. We have so many things, and would love to see you there.
I think the main thing is just make small changes because those do have an effect. It doesn't have to be something major. You don't need to get a whole new setup for your desk. A lot of times you'll have to convince your boss how to get these new fancy things. But you can do these things by yourself. It's very simple, but it does help you a lot. So I hope you take something and make some positive changes because it's worth it. You're worth it.
You guys know it all.
Sure. I'm just curious, how often should one go to the massage therapist? Meaning, I always go if I have like a kink on my, like a back spasm.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, is it better to always go regularly, or is it like 4 times a year? Is it?
Yeah.
Most people kind of do it with their benefits and they kind of
Yeah.
save it till whatever. But is there?
Yeah, for sure. So if there's no issues and you're just getting a regular maintenance, once a month minimal, at least you can keep that release and it will, like often as now, it just prevents injuries from happening. When he started doing once a month, I feel like it saved his back, and it's, so once a month.
If you do have an issue, it might take some more frequent visits to actually get you to where you need to be. So it might be more important to have more consistent treatments. But once you're there at a stage where you don't have that pain or discomfort, then it becomes a maintenance thing. So it becomes once a month, or once every time you start feeling that low discomfort, then it's time for a tune-up. But it depends for each person is different. So yeah.
Anybody else? Yeah, Scott.
Are there any resources to which you direct your patients if they want to learn how to better take care of themselves or just learn more about how the body works?
Yeah, it's a good question. There is like an unlimited amount of research. You have a favorite?
No, we actually have an Instagram account that we do post frequent tips and tricks on like random things or things that we'll get from our patients wondering what they do. And that's a really, really good resource because it'll be a little tidbit about that certain topics. And it's really useful if you did. Our Instagram is up there, but we also have like a monthly newsletter that we send out to clients.
There's like some popular ones out there too. Like, I don't know if you've heard of MoveU. MoveU is like a super popular one on Instagram. A lot of my clients love them as well. They put out a lot of good stuff. Like, they're way more like 1 or 2 a day, literally. We're a little bit less. But yeah, I love those guys. Yeah. Anyone else? Cool. Thank you guys.
Thank you.